He's eating.
Charlie,
Stop.
eating carrots.
No,
Mel, it's really good. You should buy 2 bags.
It's
Mel,
definitely good. It's definitely
I
good.
have a witness. It's confirmed.
You're pregnant.
Oh.
What happened?
Oh,
What happened?
nothing. I'll tell you later.
Oh gosh.
Oh, whew,
Mm.
what a way to. Whew. Oh, Lord have mercy. Thank God we're not live, Charlie.
We are, brother. We are now,
Oh,
anyway.
thank God. Thank God we're not live.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God we're not live. Jeez. Oh, bruh. That was. Oh, oh, hang on. I need some water.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Hello, everybody. Uh, oh, welcome to. We came on early tonight just because what? Look what I drink in water. It is water with lemon.
Happy water. Happy, happy.
Oh God. You stay. Look, they're all putting you stay live. You stay live. I know. I was just joking with you guys. We went on a little early tonight just because we wanted to.
There's nothing
And
else to do.
yeah, we just watch the news and no can help but laugh. Um, by the way, tonight share the laugh. No, we cannot. We cannot share. It's a family-oriented show. And uh, but uh, I have been getting a lot of messages, private messages from some of you that are on right now, and some people that have reached out for the first time, basically asking me what the hell just happened. And I honestly still a little confused. I think I got it, but I, I I don't know, and I don't know what it's gonna be tomorrow. It's like Charlie. Imagine. See, and I don't like you guys think it's. I don't think it's laugh. I don't think it's serious. That's why I'm laughing because we all know that this is dead serious. Literally, this is dead serious. But I think about weddings, even funerals, birthday parties, anything that requires planning. 2 days prior to the event, you basically are confirming stuff. Basically locking things down, tying up the loose ends. You making sure the MC, they get the program. You making sure that everybody get their whatever they need to do. The slideshow is ready. You just making sure that hey, check your batteries, make sure you get the right adapter for your projector. Those things. All of this stuff had been planned months ago, and maybe not in a case of a funeral, but in most other big celebrations or whatever. Um, and then 2 days before the event, we basically locking things down. Hey, Charlie, you go pick up the food, right? Yeah, 11 o'clock at Wong's. Yeah, that's what we do. I'm not saying Charlie. 2 days before, Charlie, bro, what we gonna have for food? What we gonna cook? What do you think we should put on the menu? That's that's what's happening right now in this state.
And then,
That's what's
and
happening.
then,
That's what's happening in this state right now. He
and
said,
then,
Charlie, 2 days, two
yeah,
days.
no. And then I go there and you tell me, okay, we order this. And I go, okay, got it. I go there, I go, bro, they closed.
Yeah, yeah. And like you were just telling me a story about your friend who cannot find one test in California. I mean, you put out this red carpet, you make the announcements, and everything is ready to roll. And then our friends on the mainland trying to do the right thing, trying to get their test, and they're finding out. You go to the website, you click for make an appointment, CVS, not available, not available, not available, not available, not available. You got to drive hour, 2 hours to some other CVS far, far away to go get your test. I guess what I'm trying to say is something of this uh, magnitude. Thank you. Whew, good thing she's still here. Magnitude.
Seven
Today we
point.
should be. Today we should be. Everything should be finalized. Should have been finalized a few weeks ago, but we hear this thing and I hear the horror stories. I'm hearing one of my friends texted me today. Hawaiian, I'm not going to say the airlines, but airline employee said that they had a beta testing today, Honolulu Airport. So apparently, what they did was they must have pre-planned this beta test with some passengers coming in, the 72-hour test. Anyway, it was a mess. In the words of the person, it was an epic fail. Um, am I surprised? Hell no. I mean, but you expect that again, maybe a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. So by the time the 15 come, everything is in place and everything is ready to roll. So, I still don't, I honestly don't think we're ready, but we're going. You ever watch Evil Knievel? I was a huge fan of Evil Knievel, and I really was. I mean, I tried. I broke a few bones trying to jump over. We used to put the cement blocks, the hollow tile blocks. We put 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, and you come with your bicycle, not a motorcycle, bicycle, and you jump the ramp. But back then, you just go. And yes, lots of injuries. That's why I cannot shave my head bald because all the warped head that I have. But if you ever watched the Evel Knievel documentary that showed all of his jumps, and I used to follow this guy, and even in my older years, I would just research on this guy because he was such an amazing guy. But everything was planned. Everything was planned. And, there was a couple of jumps that it wasn't right. Something was wrong. Evel Knievel rarely stopped the jump. He would be coming, them guys check the wind, the RPMs, everything had to be perfect. And some of his jumps, it wasn't. He knew it wasn't, but he went anyway. And it ended up in catastrophe. This guy broke every single bone in his body, uh, you know, and it kind of reminds me of that where we've set the date, like he would set the jump, and we're gonna go, and we're gonna go, and we're gonna just hope and pray that it works out. So that's kind of where we're at. We're 2 days away, less than 2 days away,
Well, I wanted
and
to.
I'm scared. I'm scared, man. I'm not too ashamed, or my ego ain't big enough to admit that I'm afraid. And once we get Dr. T, by the way, Dr. T is on tonight. Dr. Tony Trpkovski from Doctors of Waikiki, very good friend of Hawaii, very good friend of ours, super duper guy. But so he'll be on tonight. I'm gonna hold back what I'm gonna share when he gets on. I did get a text message from Lieutenant Governor Green today, sharing some information that I wanted to share with you. He did say it was okay. So, and I want to share it when Dr. T is on, though.
Mhm.
But I'm genuinely afraid because once that clock ticks, that calendar day switches, then there ain't no stopping. There ain't no stopping because you see, thousands and thousands and thousands of people right now are booking reservations with the understanding that they're going to come here without quarantine. And I know how hard it's going to be for the governor. In fact, he was asked today in a press conference, he was asked, uh, at what number do we put back the quarantine? When we start getting cases, at what number? And he said, we're committed. We're fully committed to this. In other words, they have not even discussed a number. They have no intention of, they have every intention. And I got to believe it's this, what they're doing is not malicious. I cannot believe these guys are in the boardroom figuring out how they can screw over Hawaii. I honestly don't think that's the case. I just think that the priority of bringing in the mainland travelers right now is higher than the the risk is not great enough in their mind, so that's why they're doing what they're doing. But for them to reverse thrust on these engines 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road and say, "Oh, time out, we're going back into quarantine," uh, I just don't see him doing that. I don't. Just based on what has happened in the last few weeks, I don't see it happening. I think he would rather build hospital tents. He would rather make up or try to adjust to the medical needs before he go down that road. But that's yet to be seen. That's pure speculation on my point. Because if he had any consideration of health and safety and medical resources, that all would have been um, calculated. And I think it's hard to put all of that in your think tank and not believe that we probably should uh, extend that date from the 15th. I just it's hard. It's hard.
Well, I wanted to, I did want to come on and share. And, some people had asked, and I thank you for clarifying with me, but if you're a if you're a trans-Pacific traveler arriving on the island of Oahu or any of the islands with a negative test, you avoid quarantine. The only thing is, if you land on the Big Island, you'll be subjected to a second test. Now, at any time, Mel, feel free to jump in and correct me, but you'll be subjected to a second test. Okay. Now, if you're a resident and you want to go inter-island, Big Island still has the 14-day quarantine. Kauai and Maui, you cannot fly to the Big Island with one test. It's not going to get you by. You're going to have to quarantine. If you don't want to quarantine, you fly to Oahu. Okay. The inter-island testing, 72-hour testing, only applies to Kauai and Maui right now. So I can see where all this confusion is happening. I can see where all this confusion, because you don't know when you got to do this or you got to do that, and when it's going to kick in and when it's not going to kick in. And so I think the best way to do it is just wait until they give you the official transcript. And usually it's written up by an attorney, because at the end of the day, you're still going to be going, huh? Because you're going to have that huh look, because that's what's going to happen. And I'm prepared for that huh look. I also got other good news. I got contacted by our good friend. We call him my friend, Dr. Duck Wong today. He contacted me. He watched our show. Right now, he's thinking about it, which is good. He says that, I don't know what more I can add, but, let me think about it. And so I wrote to him and I said, I understand you're busy. And I said, we can accommodate your time if you're willing, because I think he has good information regarding the Pacific Islander, such as myself, diabetes and obesity. How does it work hand in hand with COVID, comorbidities? He's very knowledgeable about those kind of things. And I think we haven't covered enough of it. But having this guy on, because if you've seen his videos, he's gone through the gamut and he's really good about it. So I'm hoping and praying for a secondary response back from him. But he answered thanks to Melissa.
Wow.
He answered me today. And
Wow.
I'm happy.
That's
Uh,
damn good news, man. I hope he does it. I hope, because I think he's a doctor. He's smart, but he's also he's like a street guy. He can talk to us like normal people. He does drop the f-bomb quite a bit, but that's fine too. Um, we'll make sure we let you guys know that if you get the kind faint of heart, you just don't watch. Because we don't have the ability to bleed these guys out. But it's sometimes the passion, and sometimes just the only language people understand. He talks about adulting. Sometimes we just got to be adults. You want to go complain, and you want to say you cannot wear your mask because you cannot breathe with the mask, and then you shouldn't be out. I mean, that's the kind of talk he talks, and I'm sure he offends a lot of people. But at the end of the day, he has a message, a powerful message that in light of what has happened and that the state's going to move forward, we gotta listen to these guys that have they've done the research, they've studied other countries, and they know what we gotta do. They know, and maybe if it comes from him with a bunch of FUs and F and this and F and that, maybe people listen. I don't know.
Well, you know,
I'm very capable of using that F word, but I choose not to, not on this show.
he basically this is what he said. Hi, Charlie. Thank you for reaching out. Sounds like you have done an amazing job. It sounds like you and your partner has done an amazing job with your platform with many professional doctor specialists. I'm not really sure what more I have to add. Let me think about it. And then I just responded back to him. I said, I think the viewers, the first line I just said, I think the viewers, many who follow you now, really want to have an interactive show where you tell it like it is. That's all they want, straight talk. And
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome, and oh man, I hope he responds. That'd be so cool.
yep, yep.
And then maybe you can let them know that hey, there's a care package with your name on it that that would be very fitting for your messy ass room that you have. He showed the camera of his room. My God, it's like a bachelor. But anyway, let me go real quick because a lot of people are confused about what happened today. Bottom line is this: Trans-Pacific travel, nothing has changed. 72-hour pre-test. You come in, you don't get a quarantine. Okay, on all the islands except for the Big Island. On the Big Island, you will land. If you didn't take a pre-test, you go straight to your 14-day quarantine. If you have a pre-test that's negative, you're going to take a rapid test at the airport. If it comes back negative in 15, 20 minutes, you off without quarantine. If you test positive on the rapid, they give you a PCR, the nose one. If that comes out negative, you're on your way. If it comes out positive, then you go into your protocol, your Department of Health protocol, meaning you go isolate and quarantine. So that's the Big Island. Kauai, Maui, Honolulu is the same. For inter-island travelers, Big Island has not decided on what they're going to do yet, so nothing changes with the Big Island until October 31st. You go to the Big Island, you will quarantine. You will quarantine. On Maui, intra-county travel. So if you live on Maui, you want to go to Molokai or Lanai, or you on Lanai, you want to go to Molokai or Maui, there is no quarantine. There is no test required. You can travel freely between the islands within the county of Maui. Like I said, the inter-island quarantine is the same as Trans-Pacific. So if you do a 72-hour test before you arrive in Maui and you're from the outer islands, you don't need a quarantine if you test negative.
Quite the same.
In inter-island. For Maui residents, he just announced this today at the 4 o'clock press conference. If you go to Oahu, you got to go for a day, or he said he will not he'll extend it to one night, one overnighter. So if you're on Maui and you need to go to another island, you apply for a modified quarantine exemption or modified exemption. You will not have to quarantine when you get back, and you will not have to take a test. That's just if you need to go for the day, or if like he said, he's going to give you one night. For Kauai, it's the same. Honolulu, no more quarantine, so you don't need to worry. You go Honolulu, free as a bird. You can go all over Honolulu, catch all the virus you want, and then bring them back home. For Kauai, it's the same thing. You take a test 72 hours before you arrive on Kauai, then you don't get a quarantine if you test negative. Now, Derek is going to be doing a voluntary second test 4 days out, where the visitors are going to be asked to come and take a test. And it'll be a rapid test, and we'll see. I admire that. I just trying to figure out how many people, if you're on a 7-day vacation, and I think I talked about this last night, if you take if you're on vacation and you have this opportunity to go take a test on the 4th day, number one, you got to leave whatever you had planned or whatever you were going to do that day to go get this test. But seriously, Charlie, let's say you're asymptomatic, and you think about this thing and you say, wait a minute, if I go and take a test on day 4 and I test positive, I'm stuck on this island for 14 days. I have to quarantine. I will not be able to get on a plane to go home with the rest of my family. So while I think some may take a test, why? I don't know. I don't know unless you're going to reward them with some kind of gift card or whatever, a discount card. I I I don't know how many visitors are gonna take time away from their vacation, go take a test, and possibly be put right back in quarantine. Remember, if you're asymptomatic, you can still test positive.
So let
So
me ask you then, Mel. Let me ask you. So Oahu into island travel, Oahu, Kauai, Maui. If we go to the Big Island and we're not part of the pre-testing protocol, like the traveler coming into Oahu, I mean Hawaii, right? We cannot pre-test to get on the Big Island as an inter-island traveler.
correct.
That's what you're saying, right?
As of today,
Yeah.
that may change. That may change. Because I don't know. All I know is as of today's press conference from the governor, that's where it stands. We'll see. I have a feeling that he will probably follow suit. But and remember too now on the Big Island, this only affects Kona, Trans-Pacific, because they don't have a Trans-Pacific flight landing in Hilo. So, but in essence, it doesn't matter because everybody gets a quarantine unless you're a Trans-Pacific passenger. Amazing, interesting. So you could in essence have people coming. Yeah, remember 30 plus states blowing up right now on the mainland. The odds of having some of those guys or gals coming to Hawaii are it's there. I mean, we haven't put up any restrictions like New York did. Remember when New York set up their quarantine? They put up. Remember we made the list. Hawaii made the list where if you coming from any one of these hot states, you have to quarantine. We didn't do that. I mean, we are truly ekomomai. And then of course the HTA guy, that new guy, I forget the local brother, what his name, that Hawaiian guy that came up there and basically took us to school for about 15 minutes, telling us how we got to be nice and we got to trust our leaders and we got to follow the rules. And I was kind of insulted a little bit,
When was it?
but today at the governor's press conference, he's a new guy that took over
Oh,
HTA.
on the freeze.
DeFreeze, yeah. Um,
Put him over,
so
I think.
yeah, I mean, he's a nice guy, no doubt about it. But obviously, he's part of that group, part of that, the group that is advising the governor, and so obviously he's gonna, he said, you gotta don't be mean, don't be nasty, don't be, whatever. Oh yeah, and he did. Good point. I'm sorry, who is that? Sherry, thank you. Big point was that the governor did approve our mayor's 4-tier program. So the moment that we hit an average daily case count of 5, between 5 and 8, I'm just going to use 5 because the lower the better. Then we opt out. Well, it says we will start the process to opt out. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Will the governor say you can opt out in 2 weeks to give the visitors an opportunity to change their flights? Um, we'll see. Um, that hasn't been defined as to how that process to opt out will be, but nonetheless, it's still 5 average case average active daily case load of 5 over a rolling 7-day period. That would mean we would have to have 35 cases in 7 days. So in any 7-day window, we would have to have uh,
35.
35 cases, active cases. Divide that by 7, you get 5. Then we start the opt-out process. So, like I said, you could have 6 days of 5 cases, 1 day of 4. You don't hit the threshold. You don't hit the threshold. So we'll see. We just gotta wait and see. I mean, people again. We try to stay positive. We try to stay supportive, and let's do this. We don't have a choice. So it's time now. Wear your mask. Wear your mask. Again, like Dr. Vong says, it's called adulting. We got to act like adults and making sure we have our mask, making sure when we go out, we're safe as we can be. If you don't need, again, I talked about this last night. I hear a lot of people just cannot wait to fly away and go Vegas and everywhere else. Remember, when you return, you're in that same boat. You're in that same boat as the visitor, as the Trans-Pacific traveler is not limited to just tourists. It's us too. So if you don't need to travel, put them off a little bit. Put them off. If you absolutely gotta go, then you be safe. You just be safe. And wherever you go, you make sure you practice the safety precautions, because the last thing you like do is bring back virus to Hawaii, to your family, your friends. So we just gotta be smart, man. We gotta be adults, adulting, adulting.
Brother, you sent the code to our good.
I sure did. I sure did. I sure did. Let me send him a little text right here. Come on in, Doc.
Yep. So anyway, folks, we are just standing by for our message today. And again, I'd like to send a special shout out to a very loving and caring viewer who sent Uncle Charlie and Auntie Stephanie a nice care package. Thank you so much. We're talking about it earlier, and can't wait to try those chicken and waffles. Mm, 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 mm. Looks good. Haven't tried it yet, but definitely will. And of course, my 10-year supply of supply.
Toilet paper. That is why I was laughing in the beginning of the show. Charlie was sharing with me his care package, and I looked at Ultra Plus, 80 rolls.
Two ply. What that means is like steel belted radios. No need worry about your finger busting through. This thing gonna protect you no matter what.
That is why I had the uncontrollable laugh. 80 freaking rolls. 80. That's kind of like hoarding.
Huh?
That's kind of like hoarding. 80 rolls? Who the hell needs 80 rolls of toilet paper? Only get two of you in the house. Because Miller says, because get too much doo doo. Steel belted. So anyway, I don't know where Dr. T is at, but I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed
Thank you, Melissa.
as far as what went on today. Because Dr. T is late, I am going to read, just because you guys are all here and so awesome. Lieutenant Governor Green texted me today, late this afternoon at 5:22, and he said that he was just briefed by the Tahiti leadership. And I want you guys to listen to this with an open mind, all right? Because we welcome, as we have stated all along, factual discussion. And I just wanted to bring this up. So anyway, Lieutenant Governor said he was just briefed by the Tahiti leadership. 1 out of 800, or 30 out of 24,000 of their visitors tested positive on the second test, 4 days after arrival with a negative PCR test. No quarantine recommended between arrival and the second test. 95% agreed to take the second test willingly. They have had zero spread from the 30 positives that were travelers. The only spread that has plagued Tahiti has been in the community. So that is that is from the Lieutenant Governor. Like I said, this is he just got off the phone with the Tahiti leadership. So 1 in 800 of the people tested positive. So a very small number in Tahiti. Remember now, Tahiti they basically shut down. They opened up, and now they have no quarantine. and they're open to all travelers. So, well, I mean, I cannot sit here and dispute what he's saying. I mean, that's what the Tahiti leadership is giving to him. But I did want to share this, and I was hoping for Dr. T to be on, and I'm not sure if he's going to be here, but I will. Um, hang on here. Let me make sure I have this thing open here, because Tahiti is not in a good place right now. Now Dr. Lieutenant Governor Green is saying that all of the cases, there's 0 cases from those people that tested positive. There's 0 people. So this is French Polynesia. This is Tahiti. And this is where I go for my country numbers for countries, because it's, to me, I believe it's the most accurate. It's the worldometers.info, and you just go to that website, and 3,200 cases, 11 deaths, 2,100 people recovered. But look at the cases. This is the cases. You look how flat it was all the way from March, May, June, July. But look in August. August, it started here right about August 12th, 112 cases, and then it goes all the way 1,200, 1,500, 18, 19, 24, 27, and October 13th, 3,251 total cases. The daily cases, if you look at the daily cases, October 12th, which was yesterday, 497 cases. There's no count for the 11th, but on the 10th, actually on the 9th, 334. Theirs is kind of like ours. It goes kind of up and down. October 5th, it was 264. But these are daily new cases. But if you look at yesterday, 497, this bar graph is going up, as does the active cases. If you look at the active cases from back in August they had 2, August 6th, and then they went up, they had a little drop, and then 200, 400, 500, and as of today, 1,102 active cases. And the deaths, of course, up to 11 right now total. But the lieutenant governor is saying none of these active cases came from people that tested positive on their second test 4 days after arrival, which means all of these cases came from community spread. But how is that community getting the virus to begin with? And I'm not sure what kind of contact tracing programs they have, but that's remarkable. If you can have, 1 out of every 800 test positive, and
Not
I
in.
think it was 30 out of 24,000 passengers that tested positive, but 0 cases tracked back to the visitor. Again, I have no reason to doubt what the lieutenant governor is saying. That's what he got from the Tahiti leadership. But interesting, where is these cases coming from? How many of these cases that are coming through? You see, remember we talked about that latency period. Last night, someone messaged me during the show, and I didn't bring it up last night, but her daughter got exposed to a positive person. She didn't get symptoms until 15 days later. She tested negative, but 15 days later, she got the symptoms and then tested positive. And she's actually not doing well. So it's very hard to, how do you track these cases? I don't know. But if those numbers hold true for Hawaii, if 1 in 800 people sneak past and are positive, then we'll be in a pretty good position. I just don't know what test they're using. I know a lot of variables that I don't know, but the lieutenant governor believes that it'll work. And with numbers like that, I can see why. So we will see. Again, how many people come through on the 4th day that are in their latency period. that is my biggest fear. As we talk to Dr. T just texted me, okay, coming. I wonder if he treats his patients like surgery patients like that.
No, no, no. What happens is he and his partner, the partner is there during the day. Because they open all the way up to 12 midnight, he has the night shift. That's uh that's the thing. But this is what I wanted to ask you. And I did a post today about it. If you look at this virus, right, and you flatten this virus out, I said, there's got to be a way that this virus is transmitted because you got to remember now, this virus came all the way from China and it's in Hawaii now. You ever thought about that? This virus is a traveler. So, however it came, that's why we say contact tracing is so important because we got to locate and we got to strangle this thing, hold it in place. You cannot let it float around. Hey, there he is.
Okay.
Doc, you working, Doc?
Yeah, it's like emergency after emergency. But here I am,
You're-
ready.
What? Well,
Hopefully,
we have to squeeze you real hard, man. Take advantage of you because we don't know when you're gonna depart. Charlie and I was running out of jokes.
okay. Were they funny at least? Were they funny jokes or were they bad
It was
jokes?
well, cannot be bad, but it was funny. Or some was bad, some was bad. But we laugh at each other,
No,
so
No, I mean, okay, you know what I meant.
I know what you meant. Yeah, like the not funny jokes.
So,
Anyway, thank you, Doc. Thank you. I know. I think you know why you're here. We're 2 days away from. I mean, you're gonna be busy, boss. You're in right there in heart of Waikiki. We're 2 days away. First of all, what's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts on this whole?
I'm
travel-
like, guys, I'm a firm believer that we should have done a different, maybe a two-step testing would have been a wiser decision. Now, they are going to implement that in a way, right? But it's not what I would think would be the most optimal way. But I can't lay all fault on them. I think there are some problems with trying to do that many tourists to repeat the testing in so many days after they've arrived. It's possible, but it might be difficult. So I think they were looking at the best options they could do to help the situation. And I think, going from no testing and letting people in to testing is a big plus, right? At least they're doing something. And will people slip through? Yeah, people will slip through. There'll be people that come in that are positive. There'll be some people that don't even do the testing when they arrive here. They might have been positive, right? And then they'll do testing, and then all the people that flew on them with the plane, they could, also get, sick. And then, but the chances should be small that happens. But in order to prevent that, I think by testing a second time, again, would have been the best way, but I don't think it's possible. That's the thing. I don't think they could manage it. I think you guys said something really wise today. I saw on Facebook. I don't think it was you or Charlie. I think it was you, Mel, that they deferred all this to admin instead of to the health providers to try to come up with solutions, right? Which doesn't make sense. If you have a healthcare problem, you should go to people who are in the field and ask their opinion, or make a team with professionals in healthcare that will sit down and say, this is what we suggest and this is how we think you should do it. I think it was just too top heavy from the beginning. But all I can do is cross my fingers and we can pray that it's not going to be an upsurge in the coming weeks. If it is, then what they're going to do. And then they've really defeated the purpose of reopening when they're going to close again,
Doc,
But-
let me ask you something. In your practice, and especially you're right in the hub, right in Waikiki.
Correct.
And then I understand that the population of visitors, travelers, has been down because of the quarantine, but now it's going to open up. Up until this point, without disclosing, and just tell me one way or the other, but I don't want you to disclose too much information. But
Okay.
have you been doing ongoing testing for COVID in your practice?
Yeah, we've heavily the whole time. Heavily testing, doing, people have been exposed testing, doing symptomatic testing every day. Every day we've been testing since we've gotten some type of testing ability. We've been testing, be it antibody testing, then doing, nasal sprinkles, PCR testing and sending out to the local labs, to now us doing both antigen testing and PCR 15-minute rapid testing. We just keep on testing. I mean, and I, I think tourist wise, when the tourists come, I think the testing is going to be ongoing. I think we're going to see, patients that are going to still have problems. Either it's going to either be the flu or it's going to be COVID, and there'll be more testing, And I think based on the Governor Ige's and the group's meeting today, if it's true that they hired 200 more contact tracers, that's great, and that's going to help. But I don't know. I mean, they've talked this talk for a while, and sometimes what they say and what they do are two different things. But we'll see.
The problem with the contact tracing, as we heard last week from one of the contact tracers that's working right now, she didn't hide it. She just said that a lot of the information that they're getting is not complete. A lot of the information, you see, we've gone from a paper form to an app form, but they're getting the information, but there's no phone numbers to call, or the phone numbers are inaccurate, and they're not making that initial contact. That's what I'm afraid of. You could have 500, you could have 1,000 contact tracers.
If they're not getting
if they don't have the information that they need to do their job, then you're wasting their time. You're wasting their time, and that's where my concern is. This was just late last week, so I don't know how they're going to fix that before the 15th, and that's always been my concern. Real quick, Doc. How many visitors? I know you don't have too many visitors here, but typically, how many visitors come in? Are you busy with visitors that come in with flu-like symptoms, catch a cold? I'm talking pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID, we were seeing between 60 and 70 plus people during this time of the year. Tourists. Per day. So they were, at that time, prior COVID, we were probably 10% to 20% were flu, and then other things people get. But yeah, we were like 95%, 90% tourists, 10% locals, and people would still come. But now it's, flipped, and we pivoted due to the fact of the corona, and then we're seeing mostly local people, but the tourists are coming back. And when the tourists come back, mostly it's for touristy stuff, which is they stepped on a sea urchin, they got hit in the head by the surfboard, the skag, and they got a cut, or they stepped on something and they got cut their foot, or they fallen, and those are the most common things. But that's non-flu season. Now flu and COVID season's here. It's going to be the similar things. They're going to come in for fever and chills and body aches, and we're going to assume it's COVID until proven otherwise. And if it's not COVID,
let me ask you this, Doc. Let me ask you this. And this is pure speculation because we don't know. We will find out shortly. But when a guest starts to get flu-like symptoms, see, everyone's aware of COVID. Everyone knows the symptoms of COVID, which mimics the flu, right?
Right.
In your honest opinion, what do you think that visitor that's sitting in a hotel room that is here and he has 5 more days or 4 more days of their vacation, and he's talking to the wife, said, "Honey, should I go to the clinic? And what if it's COVID? What if I test positive?"
Well,
you think it's going to deter them from going to see you, because if they test positive, then they know they ain't going home for a while?
Yeah, I see that scenario. I could see people saying, "Oh, I don't want to go and get tested because if I'm positive, I'm not going to get to go home, and I'm not going to be able to go back to work." Oh yeah, I can see that happening. People are humans. They're going to look out what's their best interest instead of the community's best interest. But of course, you guys, we're going to have problems. I've seen some people in the administration. I heard one guy say, "Oh, we're going to see what happens. This is testing the system." But I think that's wrong, because that's just like lighting a match in the house and say, "Well, let's see if the sprinklers work. Let's make sure everything's working. Let's light the house on fire." Well, that's not what you do. I mean, I think we need to do it in a scientific way, right? We need to open up the state because people need to work in the country. The state needs to have tourists come back. But you guys were pushing hard, and I agree, to get more testing. And I think that would have been probably the best opportunity for us. But and they should have came up like another aspect, like you were saying, that there's a problem with the contract tracing. That's easy to resolve. They could have came up with a much easier solution to make sure that people are actually at their phone numbers or where they're at and all these other aspects of, or having an app that they can monitor them. If they don't want to be part of that, they shouldn't just come to Hawaii. But I don't know if you guys saw what they do in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia. So
No.
when they fly in, they have to get tested and they have to be negative. And then they put a watch on them, and it's bound like an anklet, like you get for the police, and they can't take it off. And it monitors them for the 2 weeks where they're at. And then they get tested at day 10. And if they're negative after the 14 days, then they can go out. And these are citizens of Saudi Arabia, you know? I mean, and they're just, you know, these are the things you need to do to really protect yourself as much as you can. I think maybe that's a little bit extreme. You know, how are we going to get the tourists to do all that? But I think there are different ways, things we can do, you know?
There's a technology today, Doc, and this is where it just infuriates me, because there's technologies today, there's apps today that if you decide that you want to come to Hawaii, two things. Number one, you're going to take a test. And the second thing is, when you arrive, you will download the app. You will download the app. And at that moment, when you download the app at the airport and you sync that thing and you make sure the numbers are correct, and then you're on your way, then we can monitor you, and we can track, we can communicate with you, and we can check you. And I know that it's violating their civil rights. What the hell is the difference of me telling you you got to take a test if you want to come to Hawaii, or me telling you got to download an app? And this privacy crap is they're taking that way too far. These apps don't collect personal data, and it's really just a matter of making sure you are complying to keep this community safe. So there are so many ways that they could have moved and they chose not to. They're doing everything for the convenience of the traveler, and they're putting our people at risk, and that's the frustration.
Well, yes, it is very frustrating. You know, two things out of this are gonna evolve. Either we're just gonna have to learn to live with the COVID, or we're gonna live in this, you know, new society where we're extra cautious, you know. And then and I don't know how the evolution of this is gonna evolve, but it's gonna change, you know. Eventually, my belief is they're, you know, people are just gonna let their guards down, and we're gonna have a resurgence, because that's what happens after a while. People get, you know, what they call COVID fatigue. They're tired of all the precautions and everything they've been doing, and then, you know, we'll see the tourists coming back, and they're going to open the bars up, and they're going to do all this, and people are going to start going out again and mingling, and it's going to resurge. There's no way it's not going to happen unless people continue to be diligent about, you know, wearing masks when they're outdoors, you know, and being, you know, around people they don't know. I mean, the hand washing and all the other things, you know, I think are easier than the mask, you know. But the mask seems to be the key. You know, I look at it from the aspect of us here in the clinic. We've diagnosed so many people. We've had so much exposure to COVID actively because we're in the front lines. None of us have had antibodies. None of us have gotten corona. None of us. You know, there's 40 of us that work here. And me and the providers were right in there with the rooms with them. And only thing we do different is we've been wearing masks, washing our hands, and I wear a shield when I get up close to somebody when I swab them, you know? So, and that's it. And we're actively dealing with sick patients. So if I can prevent from getting it, my staff doesn't get it. So it's possible that if you go out in the community and you're dealing with people you don't know, you won't get it if you wear a mask and you're washing your hands. You won't, you know? I try to tell people, you're not going to get it going to the grocery store. You're going to get it from your friends. You're going to get it from your family. You're going to talk to somebody with your mask off, and you're going to be talking, and the next thing you know, you're going to have it because they have it, you know? So
simple. So simple.
Yeah, it's really simple.
It's simple.
It's simple.
Real quick, because I know you can lose you at any moment, but I just wanted to. The Lieutenant Governor texted me this afternoon, and he just wanted to let me know that he had just gotten briefed by the Tahiti leadership, and I already said this to our viewers because I thought we probably weren't going to see you tonight. I was getting worried, like, oh, he must be busy.
I was,
but he said,
that's okay.
1 out of 800 or 30 out of 24,000 of their visitors tested positive on the second test 4 days after arrival.
Wow.
With a negative PCR test. No quarantine recommended between arrival and the second test. So in other words, people fly in, They don't quarantine. They get a test on day 4. 30 out of 24,000 of them tested positive.
Wow.
95% of the people agreed to take the second test willingly. They have had zero spread from the 30 positives that were travelers. The only spread that has plagued Tahiti has been in the community. So that's I mean, are we looking at the same type of numbers for Hawaii? No
What?
one knows. No one
Yeah,
knows.
no one knows, but probably. I mean, I don't see why it would be any different. Travelers coming to Hawaii, travelers going to Tahiti. It'd probably be the same ratios, But I mean, I'm happy they implement. So you think about it. They at least they're doing some type of testing. We're going to do the PCR testing 72 hours before they get here, and then they agreed to do 10% of the population if they agreed to it to get that second test, right? So we'll see how things evolve, But in best scenario would be either a slow opening where they limit how many people can come into the state, and then they come up with different strategies. And I think I like the app idea, because the app idea is low-lying fruit, doesn't cost anything. Once it's developed, you just give it to them, and doesn't nothing that's easy to do, right? But
Yeah.
here it is. We have easy solutions, and for some reason we can't get them all on one page. We can't get everybody thinking the same. It's and also it's I think a lot of this is too responsibility. A lot of people are don't want to take responsibility if something goes wrong. I think everyone's kind of deferring it to somebody else. Say, well, you come up with ways to implement this. I don't want to be responsible.
I've been always fearing one thing, and that is when it happens, and say, because nothing comes to the forefront, right?
Right.
Because a lot of these infectious cases that we're seeing is there's not mass testing going on Oahu right now. So it has to be because someone presented some type of medical condition for them to get tested, and that's how they get discovered, right?
Mm.
So now when all of these travelers do come in, and just speculate, maybe 3% staying at a hotel, maybe even 1%, they infect an employee, and the employee goes home. See, that's the thing I worry about, because if you look at these care homes on the Big Island, these patients in there are not being infected by families, because families can't go in and see them.
Yes.
It has to come from employees working there. So what I'm afraid of is that maybe the number count might be low on the traveler side, but it's the residuals they leave behind that starts to populate and clusters out of control. That's the part that I'm worried about, because we've seen it before. So the question always baffles me is, you've got a cluster. Where the hell did it come from to start it off? Nobody knows. Now, is it because of contact tracing, or not enough information asked, or they didn't catch it in time? Those are the kind of stuff that because the lieutenant governor, he makes a right this right assertion that many of it is due to locals. But the thing is, if the local didn't travel, how did the local get it? Is it by, if they go into a certain perimeter on the airport, that they might whiff it in and then say, okay, now I got it. One of those things, but we don't know. So there's all these unknown variables. But what we do know is, at the end of the day, when the infectious count goes up, they say it happened in Waipahu. It happened over in, Wahiawa or Haleiwa. And then you're wondering, how the hell did it get there?
This is Tahiti, Doc. This is French Polynesia right here. Look, you can see this is up. This is today. Today was up to total cases 3,200, but on the daily cases, you look at today, it's up to yesterday 497, almost 500 cases.
Yeah.
And the leadership in Tahiti is saying none of these cases came from travelers.
Travelers, yeah, of course. Remember, it's like I said, I think it's a small percentage of people who get it from the travelers that are working in the hotel, unless they're sitting down with them with their mask off and they're sitting and talking to them. I think it's going to be, if travelers are sick, who they'll give it to would be other travelers that they're talking to, hanging out with at a bar, or family that they have here and friends that they'll sit and hang out with and talk to if everyone's wearing masks. And then it'll kind of get passed into the community. But most people who are working in the hotel business or in the retail business or in the restaurant business, they're wearing their masks, right? They're protecting themselves. So I think it's just gonna slip through, and then once it kind of gets started again, it's gonna burn out of control again. And, and I think that's gonna be the worst thing for our community, because here everyone's excited. It costs a lot of money to restart again for a lot of these businesses, and then all of a sudden we're gonna have a resurgence. And what are they gonna do? Shut down the island again? What are they gonna do? I mean, if our numbers go up to 200-300 a day, that's it. There's no other option, and that's my biggest fear. I mean, I think we're going to continue to have this COVID for a long time, but I think we can contain it like we have been. These are reasonable numbers. I mean, I wish it was 0, but I'll take, around 50 a day as opposed to, 300 a day.
Hey,
And
Doc,
then, yeah,
so let me ask you something. With this virus and the way it's acting, and I know it's ever evolving, right? It's doing
Yeah.
It's doing certain funky things that it wants to do. The question I had is, say nothing else is brought in from the traveler.
okay.
Does this virus have the ability to rapidly multiply? Because if they're saying that, not because the argument is right now that coming in will be very low. Then if it comes in very low, how do we get this 60 a day? So at the end of the week, that's what, 4,200? I mean, 420.
Yeah.
How do we get numbers like that if it's not coming in?
Well, I think we still have residual numbers of people that are sick that are passing among themselves in the community. I don't think it's the tourists currently what we're dealing with. I think we're dealing with our own community infections, and then infections are being still passed around here and there. And people are still getting certain gatherings and get-togethers, and they're passing it to one another. We just had a couple that was related to school. So the kids are still getting it. The kids can still bring it home. Now a lot of the schools are opening up again, and then what's going to happen? They're going to pass it among themselves. They're asymptomatic. They're going to give it to their parents, and then someone will get symptomatic, and then we'll test them, and they'll say, "Well, you got COVID," and then next thing you know, they've already spread it to maybe 100 people.
So can we safely assume this then? And this is my last question, because it still kind of baffles me to think about it. If in fact, and basically it was a fact that travel has been down tremendously, and pretty much nothing has come in, and we've got all this virus still moving around, do you think that the contact tracing has done an okay job to confine it, or?
Well, I think what's happened, if I could put my finger on what is the most infectious place, unfortunately, it's bars and nightclubs. And then maybe restaurants would be third in line, depending on the restaurant, how it's set up, But that's where you get drunk and you're starting to drink, and you take, no one's wearing masks, and they're all talking to each other and they're having a good time. And all it takes is one person to be infectious, and he's going to pass it among all the patrons in the bar. And so I think most of the infections are related to meetings and gatherings. I think once we open up again, it's going to be the same thing. I don't know why things would be any different than they were, 2 months ago. What's going to be any different? The contact tracers we have more of, and you guys have, interviewed them, and you think that's not going to be that efficient. And then we're going to not do anything different except what we're doing now. And we're going to have more people on island, and then people are going to let their guard down, and this is what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know what the solution is. I know that I think if people would just be more assertive towards wearing masks and being careful, then it'd be controlled. I mean, like I said, here at the clinic, we've diagnosed so many people, we've been exposed so many times. None of us have it. None of us. And we do antibody testing. We've never even had antibodies. Nobody even has antibodies at the clinic. And so, and all it is we've been wearing masks, washing our hands, not getting in people's faces if we don't have to, and wearing a shield when we swab them. So if I can prevent us, and I'm prevented, I haven't gotten it, or nobody else has gotten here to the clinic, other people won't get it either if they wear masks, at least wearing the mask.
That has been, I mean, I think it has been everybody's plea for so long now, and yet you still, it baffles me why people won't wear a mask. We know that those numbers, those high numbers that we had when we surged back to 200 and 300s, we attributed to funerals, to gatherings, to parties, to of course the bars, like you mentioned. And Dr. Duck Vong, I don't know if you know Dr. Duck
Yeah,
Vong,
yeah. I saw you
V-O-N-G,
on your
yeah.
show last. Yeah,
Well, he wasn't. We're gonna trying to get him on the show. He wasn't here yet, but he has a YouTube channel. But he calls it adulting. Adulting. We gotta teach adulting to people. We gotta be adults. We gotta be able to know when we gotta wear a mask and know that we gotta stay away from people. But I have a concern that, like you said, as people get complacent, funerals. How do you go to a funeral in this state of Hawaii
right.
and not hug and not get close to people? I mean, it's going to happen, and it's a sad thing to not go to a funeral. But people are still having these gatherings as local people, not visitors. The local people still having the gatherings, the parties at the beaches. You know, that part I don't understand. I don't
Well,
understand why people cannot get it that if we practice the 6 foot rule and we wear a mask, very little virus will be transmitted. Very little.
yeah. So I routinely go. I have an exercise routine that I do, and I'm still wearing a mask when I exercise, even though I hate it because it's very difficult. Um, but I look at people. I'm a people watcher, and as things have evolved, I mean, I almost everybody had a mask on maybe 4 weeks ago. And every week I see a lot less people at the beach wearing masks. Less, less, less. I think today I couldn't see, I saw hardly anybody wearing a mask at the beach today. And that's just what it is. I mean, everybody eventually just says, oh, it's not a big deal. And they just stop wearing their masks. And I don't know what the solution is, guys, but I think everybody being conscious about there is a virus out there that people can get. It can be lethal. It can kill you. It doesn't kill everybody, but it can kill your loved ones. So you're in a situation where you should be cautious. I think funerals are okay, but they should wear masks. Maybe wear masks and sunglasses, so that way that protects their eyes, and that wearing the mask will protect them from getting anything. They can still do some socialization with the mask on, but the problem is everyone takes that mask off. They'll
You
take that
know,
mask because it's not comfortable,
when you're taking certain tests to determine if a person has the virus or not, it there is no way of quantifying a person's viral load, right?
They're
There's
coming tests that will allow quantification, but they don't have any yet really that are out there. No, but it's coming. So they're going to tell you how the load is, and it will happen, but it's going to be a while still, Charlie. I think that will help, because there are some people that have very low viral load that more than likely aren't infectious, but have the virus. But there are some, so we don't know. Those are all things we don't know. There's so many variables still because it's such a new illness. But I'm hoping as time goes on, very smart people are going to come up with ways of managing this much better than we have been so far. And that's always been the evolution of things. Unless something makes a lot of trouble, then we find the solution. If there's no trouble, then nobody finds a solution. So you can have, the worst illness, but if it's like 1 in a million illness, no one's going to care. But if you have something that's dealing with the whole population and the economy and everything, smart people are out there. They're going to figure it out. They're going to say, okay, this is what we should do for testing. This is how we'll prevent it. There'll be solutions coming our way, and people are working at it as we speak. It just, it's not soon enough. We're all, suffering, I guess, in an aspect, the state is, become the aspect of the economy, and we've not even felt the beginnings of this, because so many people don't work. So hopefully this reopening will be safe. We should all we should all look to we should all look to hope and pray that it's going to be a safe reopening, because it's going to be very important, for the state. But I don't want to jinx it, but I think that we are going to have a resurgence, unfortunately, and I don't know what the state's going to do. So if whoever, wear your masks, no matter what, wear your masks, and be safe.
I don't think they know. I think they're banking that this thing is going to flow through. I think if they're relying on the numbers that the Tahiti leadership gave to the lieutenant governor, then it just, basically, if they think we're going to enjoy the same result, then really, I don't think they're prepared for the worst case scenario, which they should. And we don't have much time left, but one of the big issues or the topics we've been talking about is testing. And we know you're one of the experts in testing. And we've constantly heard from the state, we don't have enough testing. We don't have enough tests. We don't have enough resources. We cannot test travelers because we just don't have the resources. There are, all of a sudden though, boom, all the airlines have tests now, and all the CVS stores have tests. There's tests coming up all over the place. Kauai, our mayor bought tests. He bought 15,000 tests, thinking that the governor was going to approve our 2-test system. What's the tests out there? What are these rapid tests now? I know that at one point rapid tests were very not very accurate. It was maybe 70-80%. Where are we now in the testing world as it relates to these travelers coming in? Can we be comfortable that there's tests that they're grabbing from CVS or from the airlines, these spit tests, these saliva tests, all these different testing? Can we feel comfortable that these things are gonna work?
So if you look at statistics, let's use one test medium, which is the gold standard, which is the PCR test, right? So the PCR test, even if we use a rapid PCR test, which is the one we use is by Abbott, which is the same specificity and sensitivity as the clinical labs, the diagnostics labs, PCR machines, the same. But the technique of getting the sample makes a world of difference for your percentages of your specificity and sensitivity. So a nasal outside nasal swab versus a nasopharyngeal swab versus an oral swab. Oral swab or oral has the least sensitivity. A nasal, just an outside nasal, is second, and the best sensitivity is the nasopharyngeal. It's a 10% difference between each way of obtaining the sample. That's a big. And so yes, if a lot of the labs are doing self-testing. Here's the swab your nose. Well, yeah, that helps, but it decreases, the chances of obtaining it. You'll get false negatives. You'll have a 10% risk of getting a false negative compared to doing it the correct way, right? And so, okay, you're screening more people that way, but you're also, some will slip through because they think they're negative and they're not, they're positive. So it's kind of, I think there needs to be standardization on the way the tests are done. I like PCR testing because that's the amplification test that seems to be the standard now. And I think that's a good way of getting, you can maximize the amount of virus you're going to capture, and you're going to be able to tell if they're infectious or not. And I think the rapid PCR test that we're using, I like very much. The Abbott, it's very accurate. And within 15 minutes, you have results. The antigen testing is another rapid test, but that has, a 20% decrease in sensitivity and specificity. So yeah, it can capture, but it's not as good as the PCR test. And so the tests that are available up until recently were just, nasopharyngeal swabs that we could send out to the labs. Now you're correct. We have a whole bunch of tests that we can do, from rapid PCR tests to rapid antigen testing. I think there's a lot of ability to do more testing on the island because now there's a lot more tests available where we never had that before. Like you guys said, the mayor bought 15,000, and then we have all these other labs that are doing them. I think they just need to do them a little bit better. I don't know why they're allowing the patients to do them themselves. I don't know why they don't do like we do, just have a provider swab them. And I don't know what the big deal is, but
that is my concern. We know, or we've been told, that all of the tests that are being accepted has to be the PCR test, whether it's rapid, whether it's whatever. But they're allowing people to do this self-swab. They're allowing people to get a spit in a little vial and hook it together, mail it in. My fear is that these tests are not going to be done properly, and we're going to be getting a lot of false negatives, and then that's where we're going to run into trouble. How do you let somebody spit in a? This is the what is that thing you send away and they tell you what country you
Yeah.
came from? What the
Uh,
hell is it?
yeah,
Damn it!
yeah.
Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
So I was on sale. I bought one. I spit in a tube.
Uh-huh.
I spit a lot in that tube. I went right at the line. I had sent it away. And about 3 weeks or 4 weeks later, I get a thing said, sorry, we couldn't process your swab. Here's another kit. You got to do it again. Yeah, because there's no guidance other than spit in the tube.
Right.
I had the PCR down the back of your throat. I had that one. And now they're letting people swab their own nostrils. I'm worried, Doc. I am worried that we're going to allow a lot more people through that with tests that are false.
I mean, it's obvious that's going to happen. I cross my fingers. I hope that it doesn't happen, but it's going to happen, guys. I think, like I said, us testing the system is just like lighting a match in your house and saying what happens. Let's see if the fire alarms work and everything. That's what's going to happen. Is we're testing the system, and it's going to backfire on us. We're going to see a resurgence. I really don't want to be like a bearer of bad news. I want everything to be great, but that's my biggest fear. And I hope there isn't a resurgence. I really hope that we're all being extra cautious still, and we continue to have these numbers that we're having now. But I just think it's going to happen. That's all.
When you get a lot of these false readings, it's because people just don't read the thing directly. Because I can be one spit in a cup, boom, you forget you just had French fries or a piece of French fry. They come back, they send you your test result that says, you're negative for COVID, but you're positive for French fries. You know what I mean? Something like that can happen. I mean, I think what really was a thought to a point when they did the surge testing, right? 55,000 with only 300, and they showed them, and they said, we've asked, like yourself, we've asked other doctors, we've even asked the epidemiologists that we had on, said, what do you think happened? And they said, it's more likely that they didn't do it correctly.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do them all the time, and sometimes we think we're back in the nasopharyngeal area. We might not be, so it's hard to do. It's not easy to do, but do that. They can't really test back there. We got to remember, this is different than the flu. The COVID virus is in the lung, and it comes up into the spit, into the back of your throat, into that nasopharyngeal area, and that's where it'll harbor. So that's why we're trying to get a sample from that area. You have to get a lot of spit and able to make a difference to be able to get by spit test, or swabbing the back of the throat is difficult too. But the nasopharyngeal swab they've been finding is the most accurate way to give us a sample. And so it's not the most pleasant way, but it's not that bad. I do it all the time, worried, but it's not that bad. But it's hard. And of course, people are going to slip through. We're going to see false negatives, and I hope there's not a lot of them, but the problem is people, where are they coming from? So let's look at also, where are these people coming from? They're going to come to the island. They're coming from areas with higher incidence than us. Correct?
Yep.
So their activity rate's much higher from these areas that they're visiting. They're trying to get away from, enjoy their lives, get away from the COVID, and then we're going to get it over here. And then people, and also again, on top of that, not only is the tourists, but it's also, like I said, COVID fatigue. People are going to relax. Bars are going to open again. Things are going to get more outgoing. And next thing you know, we're going to have a resurgence. And I don't know what to.
You know what I found out is back in 2011, when I had my bout with double pneumonia, they had to do one of those tests, right? Stick it all the way in the back. And when I saw them bring it out, I said, oh, no, they're going to do me a needle stick. He goes, no, we'll put this up your nose. But I found out what was very comfortable about it. If you just keep on swallowing, that's all I kept on doing. Well, swallow. And it just made it so easy to go back there. And the doc in the ER that did it, not only did he stop, but he started to talk story with me. And almost to the point I was going to tell him, brother, you forgot to take this damn thing out of my nose. Because the thing was up there for a while. But, I always tell folks, hey, just keep on swallowing. It's just like, when they put down that nasal tube, they shove it down to go And they always tell you, just keep on swallowing, just keep on swallowing. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Well,
You know, we get over 30 states. It might even be closer to 40 today of cases
41,
that states that are surging
41,
right now. Is it 41?
41.
Okay, and that's growing every day. It was 32 last week, and so
yeah.
more states are really blowing up. And then we cannot forget, and this is one of my pet peeves. We cannot forget, and it pisses our viewers off, but it's real. It's the truth. We have local residents traveling away to
Yeah.
states that are boiling right now, and they're thinking, I'm gonna visit my kids, I'm gonna visit my mom, my dad, I'm gonna be safe. But the bottom line is this: you are leaving this place, you're going to another state, and then you become a returning visitor that
Mm.
has been exposed or potentially exposed to the high virus rates there in those other states. And you're getting on an airplane with potentially infected people, and then you're coming home. So it's, yes, the tourists pose a threat, but also those that are traveling are taking a vacation during a pandemic. You know, everybody was waiting for the quarantine to be lifted with this test so we can go to Vegas or we can go to wherever. And it's happening. It's happening right now. And that all contributes to the numbers. And we gotta be smart. We gotta be smart. We gotta be patient and wait for this wave to pass, because the virus doesn't give a damn if you're a visitor or if you're a resident. They don't care. You're on an airplane. You're in everyone shops when they travel. Everybody go to a restaurant, pick up, even if it's a takeout. You run into people. TSA, holy shit! Just going through TSA,
Yeah.
and man, that's dangerous. So, you know, people gotta just think. We just gotta be adults. We gotta be patient and get through this.
Yeah. No, I can't say you're correct. You're absolutely correct, man. I think we all have to be adults about this and say, okay, I mean, who doesn't want to go on vacation? Who doesn't want to go to Vegas? Who doesn't want to go? I want to go. Everybody wants to go somewhere, but I'm not going to go anywhere. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to bring it back home. I think we all have to contain ourselves unless it's an emergency. Somebody asked me, I got to go somewhere. I say, don't go. I go, unless it's an emergency, why would you want to go? What's the urgency of going now? Wait, you know?
I'm dying. I miss my kids so much. I have not seen them for a while. I can't even bring them home. I don't want to bring them home, but you know, so I know that it's hard for a lot of people. It's hard. People that have elderly parents or grandparents in other states that you want to see them, but this is just not. I don't know if it's just not worth it right now. It's
No,
not.
no, it's really difficult.
You know, someone had mentioned, and a good friend of ours, but he's right. As we go into the colder seasons, right? A lot of the travelers we get is your snowbirds. But prior to them leaving to make arrangements to come to Hawaii, they normally get together and they're all enclosed indoors, which then it's a higher probability of getting, you know, if you're not careful, because they say that you avoid gatherings indoors and
Mm-hmm.
so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So now you get those kind of people coming over. I'm just wondering if we do have the ability just to track it, just to see, hey, during the cold periods, because we're known as the tropics. People want to come here because they hate the winters. So we want to go to Hawaii. There's a way of just tracking it, just study wise, to see if in fact they do bring in the virus that way, especially when they're spending all, you know, their cold seasons, you know, wherever they're at.
Well, of course, that's when it's going to come. Everyone's going to be coming from the, bad, normally flu season, which is going to be now flu and COVID season.
Mhm.
And they want to get away from that bad weather. And not only the cold weather decreases your immunity, it makes you more highly susceptible to getting sick, the changes in the temperature.
Mhm.
But also, like you just said, everybody's indoors. And so all the activities are indoors, and they're going to be passing any virus amongst themselves very easily. And it's only logical that tourists coming in the winter seasons will have increased risk and increased chances of being infected. So but we're going to catch a large percentage of them doing the PCR testing on the way in, which is good. Imagine that they didn't do any testing. Well, then we're doomed. But this way, at least there's some testing being done that's going to help.
Mhm.
And then maybe a way to done this would be maybe for the, I think our highest risk population would be our local people that are traveling, that are coming back from these areas. maybe they should only get second testing. Maybe leave the tourists alone. And it's too difficult for them anyways because they're on vacation. But for the locals, maybe we should do the second testing. So my advice would be, if you are traveling and you're coming back and you have the negative PCR, get tested again in 3-4 days. Go someplace, get a PCR test so that you don't infect your family, you don't infect your loved ones. And that's the best thing, maybe advice I could give tonight. I can't tell the tourists what to do, but the local people, they know. If you want to keep it safe here and we want to stay safe, I think we should test ourselves. We should take it upon ourselves to get tested about like the 3rd or 4th day after we arrive. And so that way we know that we're double negative, double negative is the best thing you can do in this situation. And then, because we're the ones who are going to pass it among ourselves. Again, I don't think we're going to get it from the tourists as much as we're going to get it from ourselves.
Someone just asked about air purifiers. You saw that, Mel?
Yeah, air purifiers help. I have 2 in our office. We got these Japanese ones called the Clean. They're expensive, but they're really good. They have 4-layer protection. It's a carbon filter, HEPA filter. It does UV radiation of the air, and it does ionization of the air. So the air coming out of the filter actually disinfects items that it lands on. It's a really cool machine. But any kind of air purifier will help. Anything that will help take that air that's recirculating and kind of disinfect it will help. Of course it will, And then keeping a window open will help a lot, because air circulating is much different than air being stagnant in a room, And we're lucky we live in Hawaii. We can keep the window open.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think we have the opportunity here to become a safer state than most during these winter months because of our weather, But we'll see what happens.
Well, Doc, we got about 2 minutes left, and I know you got to get the heck out of there. You got a lot of fans, you got a lot of friends, you got a lot of people on this watching right now. Any words for them? Any closing comments?
I think we're gonna get through this. Just like anything that happens bad, if everyone sticks together and helps one another, we'll get through this crisis. If we all look out just for ourselves and we're selfish, it's just going to continue for a longer and longer time, and the economy is going to suffer and people are going to suffer both financially and physically. I think we need to all look out for one another. Helping each other would be the best thing. How can we help each other? Wearing our masks, washing our hands, social distancing. If we travel, I think we should get tested a second time. And that's the best advice I can give you guys today. And I miss everybody that I know in Kauai.
Awesome, man. Charlie?
As always, I'd like to say thank you, Doc. Appreciate it very much, taking up the call on the last minute. Wanted to get your insight, especially for someone who's going to be in the middle of things, because everything's going to open up. So, definitely the area is going to be saturated with bodies in general. Everything is just moving around. So, but you be safe. To our viewers out there, again, another night of bringing information to you. I know you've heard a lot of it before, repeat it, but it always helps to repeat it, especially if you forget about it. So we bring it to you. You use it if you have to. If not, we wait for the next information that we'll bring up. But thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it very much. Mel?
Doc, thanks again, man. We love you, man, a lot. You got a huge base over here. And we pray for you and your staff as we get closer to the D-Day, because we know you guys are right there in the middle of it. And we just hope you guys stay safe. Appreciate your words. I mean, it just it hits home for a lot of people. Everybody's saying the same thing. They say it a little differently, and I can tell by the comments that you connected with a lot of people tonight. I will say this: I have received, and I'm sure Charlie, you too, comments from people, messages from people local people that have come back from the mainland, and although not required, they have taken a second test. They have spending more time or isolating from their loved ones until they know that they're clear. So, a lot of us are doing it already. We all got to do it. We all got to do it. So, thank you very much, Doc. Appreciate it. Get back to work. Stay safe. Please send our love to your staff as well, man. We miss you guys. And when this is all over, we're gonna get together, my friend.
That's right. We're gonna have a beer somewhere one day.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have the beer of choice.
Corona. That's right. Corona.
All right. Look, Charlie. There you go again, Charlie. There you go. Man. Anyway, Tomorrow
All right.
night, guys, 7 o'clock, same place, same time. We love you guys. God bless, and make most of all you stay safe. Take care.
Oh,